Okay, to be mindful of time, I'm going to get started, but everything I say, I will be throwing in the chat as well as folks are filtering in. With that, thank you so much for coming to the Seattle Area Independent Schools Virtual College Fair. We are so happy to have you here, whether it's virtually or watching this recording. We have 5 amazing institutions, experts, panelists here with you who are going to share a bit about their college or university. You have the opportunity during this 45-minute presentation to ask questions by using the Q&A button that you find at the top or bottom of your screen. Our panelists cannot see or hear you, so that Q&A is very important. So again, use that Q&A to ask any questions during this 45-minute session. This is recorded and will be found at the StriveScans website and will be posted shortly after this is over. This is the last session for today for this particular event, but there will be more in the future, so stay tuned to that. With that, I am going to pass it over to Melissa, who's going to welcome you and give a few shout outs.
Thanks so much, Christy. I just wanted to welcome everyone on behalf of the Seattle Area Independent Schools and just introduce myself. My name is Melissa Longtoe, and I'm a proud member of the college counseling team at the Bush School, along with Jim Sargent and Courtney Elop. So before we turn things over to our amazing college guests, I just want to thank you all for being here on behalf of the following schools and organizations: Rainier Scholars, our friends down in Tacoma, Annie Wright and Charles Wright, and all of our friends here in Seattle. So the Downtown School, Eastside Prep, Forest Ridge, Lakeside, Northwest, Overlake, Seattle Academy, and University Prep. And honestly, one of the real pleasures of this sometimes complex job is having the opportunity to just really have such an amazing network of friends and colleagues at our peer schools and colleges. So just know, especially if you juniors starting out, you're in excellent hands in your school's college counseling office. Go talk to them, trust them, listen to them. And we're really lucky to have all these amazing college friends here today. So without further ado, just want to turn it over to the college folks.
All right, thank you. First up, we have Tulane University.
Yeah, great. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. My name is Neil Agaluz. I'm one of the directors of admission at Tulane University. We're located in New Orleans. We're in uptown New Orleans, which is, if any of you have visited, about 15 minutes away from the French Quarter, which tends to be the more touristy area. But we are located right in the middle of more of a residential area. That being said, it all built up around us. So one of the nice things about our campus is that we do have a separate campus. You tend to forget that it's in the middle of the city sometimes, but you walk off in any direction, you've got restaurants, live music, that sort of thing. We are in New Orleans, so there's plenty of that going around. But yeah, a few main things just to keep this brief about the university. The first one is that academic flexibility and interdisciplinary study is, I would say, a core component of the experience for undergrads at Tulane. We're about 7,800 full-time undergraduates, and every school and every major is open to all of those students all 4 years. So essentially, when you apply, you tell us what you're interested in majoring in, but you are welcome to mix and match those however you want. I did go to Tulane, so when I was a student, I majored in cell and molecular biology, but I minored in Spanish and I was in music performance every single semester. So that's not unusual, and that's not necessarily reaching. About a third of our students double or triple major, and almost 80% of our students have at least a major and a minor. So it is very common and it's encouraged. Essentially, no majors fill up, schools don't fill up. You don't need a different GPA or a test score to move across the different schools. You as an undergraduate are in Newcomb Tulane Undergraduate College, and the 5 different schools that host undergraduate majors are sort of located under that, if you will. So those are science and engineering, liberal arts, business, public health, and architecture. So we have all of those programs. They all tend to be pretty popular for different reasons, public health being a maybe more recently popular one. And we were one of the first schools of public health in the world, and so we have a pretty long history in that. The other thing that's really important, I think, about the experience at Tulane is that service is required as a core component of the curriculum at every level of education. So that includes our students in the law school and the medical school. We have a pretty long history of public service, but for our undergraduates, we call it service learning, and there's a really important reason why. And it's because we want our students to recognize that service in the community means learning from the community. It's not necessarily going out into the community and fixing things. We don't feel as though 18, 19-year-olds really can solve all of the world's problems. We hope that you're working on it, but As an undergraduate, what we hope is that you'll complete your service work as a member of the community and learning from the community. So we really try to emphasize that sort of experience. And what it looks like for an undergraduate is that in the first 2 years, you take at least one lecture course that has a service component that lasts the full semester. There's usually 200 to 250 lectures offered in a year that have this service component. So I took mine in Spanish. It does not have to be part of your major. It can be a minor or some other course. We took Spanish for Health Sciences as a group, a couple of my friends, and we worked in Tulane's free clinic that we own downtown as greeters and translators. So chatting with patients, helping to translate, working under a professional translator who taught us a lot, and she was really great. And so for your course, it doesn't necessarily matter what the subject area is, but a professor will make sure that it relates to what you're studying in the class, it lasts the full semester, and ideally it gets you out into a part of the community that you wouldn't necessarily visit just if you were kind of trying to have fun, right? If you're trying to visit New Orleans and enjoy a vacation, we're hopeful that you'll go into other neighborhoods that are maybe more residential or more underserved in that sense. So the second part of the service requirement is that students do projects. It's a little bit more like a capstone. At that point, it does need to relate to your major, but it can be studying abroad and doing service work then. It can be research if you can prove that it can help the community. It can be starting a nonprofit and doing much more traditional service work. Really, the sky's the limit. There's a great resource on campus called Center for Public Service, and they work with thousands of organizations around the world. They've got a long history of different projects students have done in the past. And so the really nice thing is that you have that extra support there as you try to create something for yourself. And so those are two really major pieces of the puzzle for our students. And I think things that are a little bit different from maybe the typical four-year research university. The other one, of course, is New Orleans, and it is a big piece of the experience. And that's why service is a requirement, because we want students to ensure that it is a meaningful interaction with the city versus just a fun interaction. But we do have more festivals than days of the year in the state of Louisiana. And so our students like to have fun. I think it is a cultural experience living in New Orleans for the first time. I am from Louisiana, and so I really enjoyed being the sort of the unofficial ambassador to students, to my classmates. Because there's a lot to learn. We do have our own food, our own language, our own geography even. There's a lot to learn about the city. And I think that that in itself is a really great learning experience. So, just some facts and figures. Our average class size is 20 students. The student to faculty ratio is 8:1. And we do have about 75 different majors. And again, majoring and minoring is really popular. Across the different schools, there is no real rule about it necessarily. To declare a major is essentially meeting with an advisor and making sure you have the time to do it, and then completing the task. It's more of a stamp of approval rather than an application. And we don't have interdivisional transfers either. So there's a lot of research opportunities on campus. That was something that some of my friends got involved in freshman year. That is a little bit more putting yourself out there to get started that early. But we do have research happening in pretty much every area of study on campus. And there's a wonderful resource in Newcomb Tulane Undergraduate College for research grants, summer research projects. We try to keep our students engaged, and that includes in academics. And there's some extra funding given to our faculty if they do include undergraduates in their labs or in whatever research they're doing outside of the laboratory, of course. So there are a lot of undergraduates involved, and it's absolutely an offering for everyone. So I think I will go ahead and wrap that up and pass it off.
All right, thank you so much. Next up, we have St. Olaf College.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am Dave Wagner, Director of Admissions at St. Olaf, and I am excited to actually be coming to you live from Edmonds, Washington. I am at my best friend from St. Olaf's home and excited to be in the Seattle area. I love recruiting in Seattle, and we have a lot of students coming to St. Olaf from the state of Washington. So I want to spend the next 6 minutes giving you a quick overview of who we are and ultimately what makes St. Olaf a distinctive institution. I think we are a community in which students are coming from all over the US and all over the world to live with one another in Northfield, Minnesota. So we're about 45 minutes south of Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's about a 3.5 hour flight from Seattle, and there are shuttles that go down to both St. Olaf and Carleton 3 times every day. So we're in the same town as Carleton College. So there are 2 amazing national and internationally known liberal arts colleges that are 1 mile apart. So you can see we have about 60% of students coming to St. Olaf from outside of Minnesota. About 10% of students are international students from over 95 different countries. So the whole goal is to come and live in a diverse community with people from all over the US and all over the world. It's really important to us that students are bringing their full selves to the campus community. So you can see currently about 22% of students identify as students of color from the US, and about 18% of students are first generation students, 20% of students are from low income backgrounds, and you can see roughly a quarter of students identify as non-heterosexual. So we are looking for students who come and bring their full selves to our campus community, and we are always striving to be an inclusive and welcoming place. We have big, diverse academic programming at St. Olaf. I would say we are particularly well known for our strength in science and math programming. About 40% of students major in biochem, math, physics, or psychology. So those are huge programs, but we also have a lot of strength in the fine and performing arts, the humanities, and the social sciences as well. I love the bottom stat on this slide. We are typically 11th on the list of all liberal arts colleges in the country for the number of students we send on to earn PhDs in all fields. So students, I think if you are looking for a place where you will have a high caliber education and also be prepared to go to graduate school, St. Olaf is a really amazing place to do that. We have 2 semesters and a January term at St. Olaf, and I think that that is distinctive, and students enjoy taking 1 course for a more in-depth amount of time during the month of January. This is our cafeteria. Food is a big deal at St. Olaf. Students, you should obviously never pick a college because the food is good, but it's a really nice fringe perk. So you can see pretty much everyone is living on campus at St. Olaf. About 95% of students are on campus for all 4 years. St. Olaf is a really active place. So we think so much learning happens outside of the classroom. So we have over 200 clubs and organizations. So this is a place where we want you to come and be a unique contributor, both in the classroom, but also in the broader campus community. The Taylor Center for Equity and Inclusion houses a lot of sort of identity-focused student groups. So they're specifically there to support students of color, international students, LGBTQIA students, and first-generation college students. They're an amazing resource on campus, and they are always helping us think about how to be the most inclusive place that we can be. If you are interested in studying abroad, I can very confidently say St. Olaf is an incredible place to be. In any given year, we send the highest number of students to study abroad internationally of any liberal arts college in the country. So you can do 1-month short-term programs, you can do semester programs or year-long programs. I was able to study abroad twice. I did a theater in London program the month of January. I think I saw 28 plays in 24 days. And I also did a program called the Global Semester, which is a St. Olaf program. And I was able to travel from Switzerland to Egypt, India, Thailand, Hong Kong, China, and South Korea. So we think living in a diverse community is incredibly important. We also think it's hugely important to go out into the world and experience a wide variety of other peoples, cultures, and places. If you are very interested in music, I can very confidently say St. Olaf is an incredible place to be. 1/3 of our students are involved in music. So we have 8 choirs, 2 bands, 2 orchestras, and 3 jazz bands. And you do not have to be a major to be involved in any of those ensembles. If you are a student athlete, St. Olaf is a really incredible place to be. We have 26 varsity athletic programs, 26 club sports, and you can see that a ton of students are doing intramural sports on their own throughout their 4 years at St. Olaf and competing with other teams from the college. We do have a religious affiliation at St. Olaf. It's incredibly inclusive and welcoming. We were founded by Lutheran Norwegian immigrants, and we think that religion is an important area of academic study and also something that is important to honor in our broader campus community. So roughly about 20% of students identify as Lutheran, but also conversely about 20 to 25% of students identify as not, coming from particularly religious backgrounds. But students, what this does is let you talk about things that ultimately provide meaning in a lot of people's lives. And it adds dimensionality to your experience at the college. And finally, I would close by saying the Piper Center for Career and Vocation is an amazing resource. They work with students from day one, doing professional coaching, peer coaching, workshops, networking events. connections programs around the country. And I always point out that they have funding to help students take advantage of unpaid internships if students want to be able to do that. So I'd close by saying there are a lot of great schools out there, but I can very confidently say, if you're looking for a great school that's going to give you an awesome education and you want to be part of a down-to-earth friendly community, St. Olaf is definitely worth looking at. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Smith College.
Hi, my name is Maureen Pine, and I'm the Associate Director of Admission at Smith College, and I'm super happy to be here. I missed my travel to Seattle very, very much, so I'm happy to be here to be able to talk to all you wonderful students. So I am also going to share my screen. Hopefully I'll do it successfully. So Smith College is a liberal arts college. It's the largest women's college in the country, liberal arts college. It's a place where we believe in the power of you. So we are a liberal arts college in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is in Western Massachusetts. It's about 2 hours away from Boston, 3 hours away from New York City. So it's a really nice location. About 2,500 undergraduates. Almost everybody lives on our campus because the housing is amazing. We have students from 49 different states and 72 countries. 14% of our students identify as international. 33% of our students identify as students of color, and 19% of our students are first generation. Some very unique features to the academic program at Smith. Probably the most unique piece is that we have an open curriculum. And if you're not familiar with an open curriculum, what that means is when you come to Smith, you don't have to take any core distribution requirements. You will have to take one writing intensive course. From that point forward, you're free to take anything that interests you until you choose your major, which is generally at the end of your sophomore year. The open curriculum is a huge draw for students at Smith because it allows you to pursue the things that you're most interested in, allows you to study things that you're very passionate about. It also lends itself easily to double majoring. So oftentimes our students find that they don't have to give up one thing that they're passionate about to pursue something else they're passionate about. We're also a member of the 5 College Consortium. We, along with Amherst College, UMass Amherst, Mount Holyoke, and Hampshire College. So as a student at Smith, you can attend classes at all those schools. They can also attend classes at Smith. You can also participate in clubs and activities on all 5 campuses. You can use the library resources of all 5 campuses. And honestly, it's a great social tool too. You have an awful lot of college students in about a 15-mile radius. I didn't mention we do have over 50 areas of study and over 1,000 courses, and our student-faculty ratio is about as small as you're going to find. It's 9-to-1, which means you're going to work very, very closely with your professors, and they're going to get to know who you are. We also have a unique program called Praxis, in which we will actually fund a non-paid summer internship for every student at Smith who wishes to take advantage of this. And that allows students who traditionally might not be able to do a summer internship because they would have to work to make money for college. It allows them the opportunity to do the internship and still have the funds they need for college. We have lots of research opportunities across the curriculum. Very common for our students to do research. Almost 80% of our students will do research with a professor before they graduate, which is a pretty high number. And you can actually start as early as your first year. Full slate of study abroad options. Smith has programs in Paris, Geneva, Hamburg, and Florence, but there's over 100 other locations that you can study in as well. Housing is also very different at Smith. We don't refer to our residence halls as dorms. We call them houses. You can see the picture there. There's one that actually really looks like a house. 41 different houses, all 4 class years in each house. The houses are very unique architecturally. They're very vary in size from as few as 10 students to up to 100. Some look more like kind of traditional dorms, and others are like that house that you see in the picture on the top. The house system is great. It allows students to have a sense of community right when they walk through the door. They're much more comfortable and cozy than most college dorms, and our students absolutely love the house system at Smith. I encourage you to check it out on YouTube. We have 13 dining options. We really take pride in the fact that we locally source as much of our food as possible. We have lots of variety, as most schools do. Kosher and halal, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free options, nut-free, shellfish-free, pretty much everything free that you can imagine. And then the Smith community is very important. Smithies are really engaged people. They care about the things that they're doing. They are invested in the things that they're studying. They're ambitious, but for all the right reasons. It's not necessarily about how much money they're going to make when they graduate from college. It's about going out and doing good things in the world and being change makers. And I can absolutely say that we have a strong tradition of having students who are super engaged in not only our campus, but also in the world at large. Student life, over 140 different clubs and organizations, 11 varsity athletic teams, club sports, intramurals, fitness options. Northampton is an amazing town. It's a kind of a really great place to go to college. We have over 60 different restaurants. It's a very funky, kind of eclectic sort of shopping district. We have very strong support in the arts. It's a very politically engaged area. So it's a very vibrant town, and it's about a 5-minute walk from the edge of campus into the center of town. Next, why choose a women's college? So we like to say at a women's college, you don't have to shout to be heard. Women's colleges are intentional communities that focus on providing an academic environment where women and other marginalized communities are at the center. Our faculty is very student-centered. And we like to say at Smith, it's not about equal opportunity, it's about every opportunity. So yes, at every school you go to, you'll have the opportunity to get involved in research and internships and leadership, but they find that women's college graduates are more likely while they're in school to engage in research, take on an internship, participate in co-curricular activities, and hold leadership positions, and major in the STEM fields. And actually, 40% of Smith students major in the STEM fields, which is 2 times the national average. We provide exceptional resources, and we really work to foster an environment that allows you to become your most powerful self. Admission, real quickly, free to apply. We use the common application or coalition application. We're test optional. You can interview, but that's an optional piece. We have 3 application rounds, 2 early decision rounds, and a regular decision round. Financial aid, we require both the FAFSA and the CSS profile, as well as the Smith application for aid. Smith meets 100% of your demonstrated need, and last year, have awarded more than $78 million in aid. And almost 70% of our students receive aid. We do have some merit aid. It's relatively limited. Just about the top 5% of our applicants will be receiving merit. You don't do anything special to apply for it. You're automatically considered for merit when you apply to Smith. Smith's an amazing place. I hope you'll really take a great look at it, and we'd love to have a chance to talk to you.
Right.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Next up, we have Northern Arizona University.
Perfect. Thank you all. Let me get my screen shared here real quick. All right, well, thank you all so much for being here this afternoon. My name is Austin Joy. On the screen, you can see my contacts information for Danny. She will be your point of contact for the Seattle area. I'm just filling in for her this afternoon to talk about NAU. So I am a 2-time alumni of NAU. I did graduate both with my undergrad and my master's from NAU, and I absolutely love it. We are at 7,000 feet above sea level in the Flagstaff area. On average, we get about 100 inches of snow a year too. So you can see the picture here on Arizona Snowball. That is our skiing and snowboarding lodge in Flagstaff. And we've never hit a day over 100 degrees. So everybody thinks Arizona is all hot. That is not true. It does get snow in the northern parts of the state. We're about 2 hours north of Phoenix, about 90 minutes from the Grand Canyon, and about 45 minutes or so north of Sedona and Oak Creek Canyon. Living on campus, so we do have our residence halls. First-year students are never required to live on campus during their first year. If you would like to, you would be living amongst students that are in that same academic college as you. So you'll be living amongst students that are within the same programs. There is some overlap between the different colleges on our campus. We do have 25 dining locations on our campus, with over 400 clubs and organizations. If you don't find anything in that 400, you can definitely start your own. All you need is a few other friends, full-time faculty, staff member like myself or Danny, and you can get that club started if it is school appropriate. We also have sorority and fraternity life. A little bit more about our academics. We do have about 97 undergraduate programs or those bachelor's degrees, 61 master's, and 15 doctoral programs at NAU. So plenty of things to do on our campus. A little bit more about admissions on our application. We do have what's called self-reporting. So these 16 core classes that you see here on the screen are these 16 classes that we look at for admissions into NAU. For guaranteed admissions, we look for a 3.0 unweighted core GPA and no deficiencies. So what that means is we are looking for not missing one of these courses. If you may have not passed one of these courses or the core subject GPA drops below a 2.0, that could lead to a deficiency. But if you have that 3.0 unweighted core GPA, you are guaranteed admissions to NAU. To be considered for admissions, we look for a 2.5 unweighted core GPA and no more than one deficiency in any subject area. And so you'll be considered for admissions at that time. We are test optional, so we do not require the SAT or ACT for admissions purposes. And that goes for our merit-based scholarships as well. We are part of the Western Undergraduate Exchange or WUI program. So being from Seattle in the state of Washington, you are automatically part of WUI. There is no separate application you need to fill out to be a part of this, and all majors and degrees are a part of the WUI program. And that gives you a discount from the out-of-state tuition rate. So the current tuition rate for this past year was $15,975. You can see our additional estimated costs of attendance there with our fees, housing, meal plans, books, and supplies. You can also see on this slide, we do have 2 WUI scholarships that will help reduce that tuition by another $6,000 or $5,000 towards tuition. The WUI Gold, you must have an unweighted 3.5 core GPA or above, and you will be awarded that $6,000 scholarship. For WUI Blue, it is a 3.0 to a 3.49 unweighted core GPA, and that is a $5,000 scholarship per year towards tuition. And these are automatically evaluated, so you do not have to apply for these. If you meet the eligibility requirement, we will be able to award you one of these merit-based scholarships. For other scholarship availability at NAU, if you visit nau.edu/scholarships, you will be able to find a whole lot more scholarships to apply to. Apply for ones outside of this. I always like to tell students I got a scholarship for being left-handed. It's still out there. I don't remember the name off of the top of my head, but I do know that somebody did find it at one point and actually applied for it and received that scholarship. And our campus is open right now. So if you would like to come and visit, we are offering in-person tours Monday through Friday. If you visit nau.edu/visit, you will be able to find all of those options. You will also be able to find our virtual options, and the self-guided tours are another option too. So if you are coming, say, on a weekend, you can always take a self-guided tour. And that's really going to be the best way to know if NAU is the right fit with all of our athletics, being in Division I, academic programs, anything you may have questions on. Coming to our campus, you'll be able to take a tour with a current student and meet with my colleagues on the NAU campus. So we hope to see you in the future, and thank you all so much for being here this afternoon.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have DePaul University.
Hello, everyone. Let's see. Okay, we are good to go. Hi, my name is Amanda Woolley, and I am an assistant director of admissions for DePaul University, located in Chicago, Illinois. DePaul is one of the largest Catholic universities in the country and one of 3 Vincentian institutions also in the country. Our namesake, St. Vincent de Paul, was a 17th century priest whose mission was helping the underserved and underrepresented communities. We are guided by this ethic of Vincentian personalism and professionalism. We compassionately uphold the dignity of all members of our diverse, multi-faith, and inclusive community. Some of the core values that DePaul maintains are social and environmental justice, care for society's most vulnerable, and of course, access to higher education. Like I said, we are located in Chicago, but we have 2 campuses in Chicago. So Lincoln Park is our more residentially styled campus. It's also where most of our residence halls are located if you choose to live on campus. So there are more green space, more traditionally styled academic buildings, so you can truly feel like you're on a college campus. It's also located in a more residential neighborhood of Chicago, where not just DePaul College, college students live, but many other college students from the city of Chicago also reside. From this picture, you'll see the Fullerton stop on the Chicago L train, and this is the Lincoln Park campus. You can just hop on the L and either the red, purple, or brown lines and head to the other campus located in the downtown loop. The Loop campus is in the heart of Chicago. It's in the touristy downtown financial district of Chicago. It is a city campus, also known as our vertical campus. So classes aren't held in traditional buildings, they're held in skyscrapers and high-rise buildings. But since we have these two separate campuses, to make things easier on our students, we offer a U-Pass with your student fees. So no matter how you like to get around the city, whether that's train, bus, what have you, you can use that U-Pass to get around the city of Chicago. With the way we divide our campuses is by academic college. So let's see if you're interested in majors within business, communication, computing, and digital media, including our most popular major, film and television. You'll take the majority of your classes at our Loop campus. Now, if you're interested in more of our liberal arts and social sciences, education, science and health, or our conservatory-like programs of music and theater, you'll take the majority of your classes at our Lincoln Park campus. We have over 300 academic programs with, like I said, our most popular being film and television, health sciences, and business. We actually have one of the oldest business schools in the country. So we have everything from accounting, real estate, entrepreneurship, a lot of different options within business. But even though we are a large institution, as you can see on this slide, our average class size is 22. 90% of our classes are actually less than 40, and 98% of our classes are taught by professors. So you won't be getting TAs or grad students teaching your classes. You will get full-fledged professors that are also usually working still within their subject area. We have a lot of combined and accelerated programs in these different colleges. So if you're wanting to do an accelerated law program, or maybe an accelerated early opportunity with med school, we have a lot of those programs on our campus. Now, another unique thing about DePaul is that we are on the academic quarter system. So as you can see by that top middle picture, our quarter system is divided into 4 different terms, though ultimately you will only be there for the academic year, which is 3 academic terms: winter or fall, winter, and spring. Our students don't start until after Labor Day, and then their finals are going to be right before Thanksgiving. So if you can see on that picture, no December classes. So you'll be at home or maybe off doing a study abroad in that December timeframe where there are no classes. One of the really cool things about being in the city of Chicago as a student is the great opportunities for internships and various career opportunities. And we don't want an unpaid internship to be a hardship. So we offer a lot of grants to students whose internships might be unpaid to help with any inconsistencies in their living situation or anything like that. We also do career family advising, as well as having great partnerships with different companies around the city. And what career family advising is that you're not just going to go to a career services to say, I'm majoring in accounting, I want a job. You'll actually, if you want to do maybe nonprofit accounting or go into educational accounting, you'll actually go to that career family in which the umbrella is. So not just for your major. And this is kind of just a review slide. So DePaul is on the Common Application. We are free for all students applying. We have been test optional for almost a decade. And so we do not require any test scores in the admission process. Your application will automatically be reviewed for merit-based scholarships. So you will get that scholarship with your admission decision. And our early action deadline is November 15th. regular decision is February 1st. And if you are looking into theater and music, those have priority deadlines of December 1st. So feel free to contact me. I am your counselor. I am regionally based, but actually on the other coast. I am going to be in Seattle next week. So I leave tomorrow. So I'm excited to see some of your faces when I get to Seattle. But feel free to check out our numerous virtual items, or if you want, come to campus for a tour. Thanks.
All right, thank you. So with that, if I could have everyone come back on camera, we're going to go in the same order that you presented. And if you could share with us a piece of advice that you would give for folks going through the college search process, starting with Tulane.
Yeah, so I'm one of the directors at Tulane, and we all share a blog, and we actually just wrote a post about this like 3 days ago. So I'm going to give my tip that I put in there, which is to have a conversation about the financial aid process, but also like your family's needs with your family early. I think that this is something for a lot of people that's going to sound super obvious, but when I went through the college admission process, I got very lucky that things worked out for me at Tulane, but we did not have that conversation. And it can get really messy with your family if you don't really have kind of like a number determined in advance that your family is able and willing to contribute each year to your college finances, because then you're going to start getting those admission letters and maybe merit scholarship or financial aid offers. And as a student, it can be a little bit unclear about which ones are actually doable, I think, until you start to really have that conversation. So it's always, in my opinion, better to have that conversation early and before you've really gotten deeply into the admission and application process. Then when you do start to get those offers, you'll have a better sense right away, okay, this one's a little bit off base. Maybe I can continue looking at third-party scholarships, or yay, this one fits exactly what my family needs. And so I think do that earlier rather than later, because the conversation is going to come up. Also, those students, I think, remember that that's kind of a heavy lift on your parents. So give them time, have that space where you're having the conversation, but it's a lot for them to figure out in the first place, and then a lot to talk with their teenage child about. So definitely create that space for it, I think, as early as possible.
Students, my advice would be to remember that you are more than your GPA, you are more than your test score, you are a whole person, and you should be treated as such throughout this process. So try really hard not to lose sight of that and use the resources that are around you. You all have amazing counselors or people working with you through this process who are amazing, but use your family. And there's a screen full of people here, and we do this work because we love building relationships with people, and we are always here to help guide you through this process. So there is so much support, and you should not be shy about asking for guidance.
Hi, I would say the most important piece of advice, I think, is to kind of lower the flame a little bit and understand that there's a lot of great colleges out there, and you will find one that is a perfect fit for you, or maybe not perfect, but a real good fit. And to trust your college counselors. They are there for you. They are working with you. They're such a great group. And as Dave said, we're all here for you too. And you should always reach out if you have questions. Don't be shy. That's what we're here for. So I hope you can enjoy your college search a little bit and kind of take that pressure off. You're going to end up in a great place.
Yeah, and as my colleagues have all said, I would say also, if you can, visit campus. I'm a big person on visiting campuses if you possibly can, to really get more information, because I know in our 6 minutes, we definitely were not able to even scrape the surface of everything we offered today. But come and visit our campus. And like we were all saying, it's really about finding that right fit. And those campus visits are going to be able to help you further make your decision in this process.
Yes, and now I have to try to think of something that my lovely colleagues have not said. I'll just maybe remind you that this is a marathon and not a sprint. So take breaks, take, breathers, do things in sections, not necessarily think of it as the whole, because it does come down to, you can do little parts of this process pretty easily, but when you start maybe thinking of it as a whole thing, it can get kind of daunting. So just take it in parts. Remember, this is still your senior year, or maybe for you juniors that might have joined us, you still need to enjoy it. This is the last time you're spending with the group of people that you've spent a lot of time with in your educational career previously. So spend time with them. Like, just remember to breathe. And I guess that's my big piece of advice.
We do have time for one more question. So starting from the top again, if you could tell us one thing that you would like folks to remember about your school.
Good question. I think one thing that I would suggest, that I would say to kind of just remember about Tulane, is that we tend to be all about balance, and it's in a lot of different ways. But I talked about academic balance, mixing and matching. I think there is very much an ethos at Tulane of a sort of personal balance in life. I hate the phrase "work hard, play hard" because I think it encourages you not to have balance and to be doing too much of everything. But I think at Tulane, certainly our students tend to find that sort of like whole person experience of like, I'm going to de-stress and step away from classes right now. I have exams coming up. I've scheduled my time. I'm going to take a day off. And that's a little bit how we operate. And so I would say, remember the word balance, I guess, when it comes to Tulane. That's kind of our thing.
I love that. I'm going to sort of cheat, and my advice will be many things condensed into one, but you can think big science and math, big study abroad, and big music with St. Olaf. Thanks.
That was a quick one. I would say the thing that I would want you all to know about Smith is that Smith is a community of very engaged students. They care about what they're doing. They really are change makers in the world. But the best part about our community, I think, is that it's an incredibly supportive community. So we have students who are doing amazing things and really actually very humbling things for someone like myself. But they're also incredibly supportive of each other. So that's an important thing when you're considering the college. What kind of environment are you going to be in? Are you going to be in a place where you're going to feel a part of a community that's going to support you and cheer you on every step of the way? And I can guarantee you Smith is that place.
I will say we are in a small mountain town, so definitely a little bit of a different experience than the Seattle area. I know because I lived in Auburn, Washington for about 1.5 years. And so definitely a change of experience being in the mountains with that academic focus and plenty of other opportunities, like all of my other colleagues have said, to do on and off campus. So definitely a change in pace is definitely what I would say about NAU.
And with DePaul, I mentioned Vincentian personalism. The Vincentians are really a great kind of source for me. Their ultimate question that they always ask is what must be done. And at DePaul, kind of our motto is here we do, which I have on this background, which is why I love this background. So just remember, at DePaul, here we do, and in the city of Chicago, because that's also a pretty big part of who we are.
That's awesome. So my last plug is to just really reach out to these folks, because this is what they do. They're experts. They're there to guide you to make sure that you do find the right fit for you. So make sure you jot down that contact information. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching this live, you will be asked a 5-question survey when you leave. This is the last session for this particular fair today, but there will be more in the future, so stay tuned. And a recording of this and all of our sessions with all of the different colleges and universities will be available at strivescan.com. I put that in the chat as well. Thank you to our experts. Thank you to our panelists. Best of luck to those of you out there in your college search, and have a great day.